All right, welcome to case study number 39 of this series, so brilliantly titled Kirk's 40 Case Study Closings. I'm your host, Ryan Kirk, and these case studies range from vacant lots to custom luxury homes and total $2,042,081.71 in profits and equity without having to personally go see the property on some. With no cash, no credit of my own, it varies and I'll explain, and I do it all with Flip Logic and 1888 cash offer. Now let's get into number 39 of the 40 case studies. Man, and that brings us to 5918 San Vicente Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. This is the mid-city Miracle Mile area of Los Angeles, right down the street from the Grove, if you've ever been there. Very close to Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard. And you're going to see why this deal was so awesome. Now, I didn't wholesale or assign this deal. This is actually one I bought and closed on using subject to financing. That just means that we didn't pay off the seller's existing loan. We just left that loan in place. And then I did have to use cash of my own to cover the difference in the purchase price to get the deal done. So let's talk about it. And if you look at the photo in the top left, that's a before and after, because I did do a cosmetic rehab to it. Paint, what did I do? Paint, new windows, new roof, landscape, and I think that's about it. So I had to do all of that, and that's me in the top right over there photo. So that's the before and after. Some have told me it looks kind of like a Ronald McDonald house. That's actually one of the tenants because it's a fourplex. But the colors didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it, but it was cool. I liked it, and the stairs popped, and I just thought it was cool. So, all right, let's talk about it. Off market, right? Absentee owner. It is a 4-unit, and the lead originated through a direct mail campaign to absentee owners who have owned the property since 2003 or prior, and that was the criteria for this. And of course, this was a multifamily because I was including those as well. And specifically, this is a fourplex. So the property condition just needed cosmetic repairs. The seller's motivation, he had a whole laundry list, gosh, maybe a page and a half of code violations. The tenants, bad tenants, not all of them were bad. 2 of them specifically are very difficult, and they were the ones who would always call into the city, complain, and then of course the city, they send out an inspector. The inspector makes a whole list, and then you got to correct that whole list. And if you don't do it within a certain amount of time, that's when you can really get into hot water, because they'll put, at least in Los Angeles, they'll put your property in what's called a REAP program. Basically what that is they put a lien against your property, and then they route all of the rent payments to this account with the city, this escrow account with the city. So you now have to get your property, and you have to go through a hearing to get your property out of REAP, and you're not getting your rent payments during that time. So it's devastating to a landlord if they let these code violations go and they wind up in a position where they end up in REAP. It just totally cripples them, totally kills them. So with all the code violations and the deferred maintenance this place had, it was way more than the seller could take on. I mean, it was about $40,000 in repairs that needed to be done. And so let's talk about it, right? So this had an ARV about $1 million. It needed just cosmetic repairs, so pretty close to $10 a square foot. I ended up doing them myself, and it ended up coming out to $40,000. So that $40,000 in repairs came out to about $11 a square foot. Purchase price was $390. Now you may be wondering, how in the world do you buy a property like this for $390,000? Well, number one, it's got to be off market, because if this thing was on market, there's no way I would have got this kind of a deal, right? So no, it had to be exclusive. Nobody else had to know about it. You're only going to generate these types of margins typically from a referral or off market, because again, if it's on the MLS, it would have got multiple offers. This would have been bid up or listed even much higher. So that's the key here with this deal. Off market direct mail campaign. You can generate off market leads in other ways. You could do a wrap your car with your marketing. If you're using 1-888 cash offer and you've got your phone extension and your email, you can wrap your car with that. You could do bandit signs, put up signs in neighborhoods. Sorry. You could do direct mail. Direct mail is one of the most targeted, effective ways to generate motivated seller leads, and that's how this one was generated. And when you ask the seller, what they want, again, if I were to pay all cash, pay all the closing costs, and close on the date of your choice, what's the best price you can do? And oftentimes, like this seller, they said, you know what, I don't know, make me an offer. And then that's when, in this case, we really went low. I really went low, and I said, well, with all, and it's all circumstantial, right? And I let them know, hey, you're on, you're days away from going into REAP with the city. If you don't know what that is, it's basically where they file a lien and they take control of all the rents, and you got to go through a hearing to get it out of that. And you got to bring this property, up to code and have all those code violations satisfied before you can even do that. And those hearings, they can be months away. So plus you have these bad tenants, and it's in a rent-controlled area. So if you don't know what rent control is where you cannot get those tenants out. They have to voluntarily move out. And then if you want to get them out, you do have to pay them to go. But again, it has to be voluntary. They have to voluntarily want to go. If they don't want to go, they don't have to. So there's no notice, hey, you have to go. It's just they can stay there as long as they want. And if the rents are under market, like these rents were severely under market, meaning, the rents on these units are around $1,500 a unit. And, one unit was getting in the 700s and the others were around 900 a piece. So the rents were way under market, and you can only, in a rent controlled area, you can only increase the rents 3% a year. So you're always most likely always going to be chasing the market, trying to get your rents up to market rent. So, and with income property, it's really only as valuable as the income that it generates. So with that being the case, we let them know, hey, on top of that, you've got tenants who are just they're there. They're married. You're married to them with this building. You're not going to get rid of them. Really, the only way you can get rid of them, you can get rid of one, and that's the last one to have moved in. At least per the rules of Los Angeles, you have to move in like a property manager, or you have to move in a relative, or move in yourself into that unit, and you can get that one tenant out, and you still have to pay them. So letting him know that with all of that going on, that the best we can do, it's going to be in the high threes, and use soft language like that, high threes. And he's like, oh man, high threes. He's like, that's really low. So, well, maybe I should order an appraisal. I said, you know what, if you order an appraisal, the things that they're not going to be able to take into account are the bad tenants that you have in there, right? The REAP that's approaching. On top of that, then you have the condition it's in too, and you got to work around those tenants to get the property up to code. So, those are the things that an appraiser is not going to be able to take into consideration, and you got to make a decision on this pretty quickly. So, listen, I'm willing to wrap this up. I'm willing to close, and I'll do it in a week. I'll close in a week, and you'll notice on my terms there I did it in 8 days. I'll close in a week. We leave the existing financing in place, and then I'll cover the difference. and just just be done with this, get it out of your hair. And he agreed. And so I wrote it up, subject to, again, meaning we leave the existing financing in place. I cover the difference with cash, and then I just take over those payments. And that's what I did. If you've never done a subject to deal, they're very easy to do. I'm happy to demonstrate it further in another video. And if you'd like that, just let me know, comment down below, and I'll do that. With the investor, obviously, I was the investor. I closed on it. I didn't do the assignment, so that's that. And my equity in this thing, man, is over $500,000, and this property's appreciated further. So that's the benefit of subject twos, and you can do subject twos without having to bring any cash to the deal. If the seller is willing to sell it and just get out of it for the amount that they owe, you don't have to put any money down. It's just a simple, you open up escrow, the price and the loan amount is the exact same amount, right? Because that's what they owe. And then you close on it. Escrow just draws up the grant deed, and the property's literally transferred into your name. The loan stays in the seller's name, and you just start making payments to the bank, to the lender. Now, some may say, well, can't you trigger the due on sale clause? I've never heard of a due on sale clause being triggered, but how you avoid a due on sale clause being triggered, the trick is or the key is the insurance policy. You leave the borrower on there, right? Leave the borrower on the insurance policy, and you add yourself or your entity that you've closed in as an additional insured party. That way, when the bank gets that insurance policy back, and the minimum wage worker at the bank who's matching up the file with the insurance policy, that all right, the mortgage, the lost payee that's on there is the bank. The borrower who's on there matches the borrower on the loan. So if they see that matches up, borrower on the insurance policy and the borrower on the loan match, then you're good. There's no red flag there. It doesn't matter if there's an additional insured party. And then if you're thinking, well, what happens if the building does burn down, or you need to get a hold of the insurance company, or you need to cash an insurance claim or check? Well, what you do is you have a power of attorney, a limited power of attorney, signed by the seller, stating that you have the right, and full control to contact the lender in regards to the loan, the insurance company in regards to any insurance claims, and that's it. You cover all your bases that way, and that's it. You just in this case, the rent checks come in, and then we just make the payment to the bank, and it cash flows not by much. Whoops, lost it. It doesn't really cash flow. This isn't like a cash flowing type property. It pretty much breaks even, but we've got the equity in it, and that's what counts. So the funding we used was subject to. Subject to is great. You can use Flip Logic to generate subject to offers, and it's a fantastic way to get into properties with no money down, and to be able to buy and hold, and then rent for cash flow, or fix and flip if you want to do it that way too. So very creative way to do it, and obviously this is a killer deal that you get to see a subject to on. So I hope that helps. And yes, had to personally go see the property on this one. So statistically, only 10% of YouTube videos are watching to the end. If you're in that 10%, you're a hustler, persistent, determined, succeed. I wish you much success. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to working with you.